Welcome to CBSE Grade 10, Part A, Unit 1 Communication Skills. In this session, we focus on important exam-oriented long questions. Communication skills help us express ideas clearly, listen effectively, and build better relationships. This unit covers essential skills like listening, speaking, reading, and writing, which are key to scoring well in the board exam. These questions will help you understand how to frame clear, well-structured answers using the right keywords. Let's begin our preparation and move one step closer to exam success. In this section, we focus on long questions for CBSE board exam preparation. These questions help you understand concepts in depth and learn how to write clear, well-structured answers. Practicing them will improve your presentation, clarity, and scoring ability in the exam. Question 1. Describe the complete communication cycle with the help of a simple diagram. Explain the role of each element in ensuring the message is understood as intended. Answer. The communication cycle starts with the sender. The sender has an idea or message to share. This message is then encoded, which means it is converted into words, signs, or symbols. Next, the message is sent through a channel, such as speaking, writing, email, or phone. The receiver receives the message and decodes it to understand the meaning. Finally, the receiver gives feedback. Feedback shows whether the message has been understood correctly or not. This feedback completes the communication cycle and helps avoid confusion. Thus, all these elements work together to make communication clear and effective. Question 2. What are the four main types of verbal communication? Explain each type with a relevant example from a school or work environment. Answer. The four main types of verbal communication are: first, interpersonal communication. This is communication between two people. For example, a student asking a teacher a question after the class. Second, written communication. This type of communication involves written words. For example, a manager writing an appreciation email to an employee for good work. Third, small group communication. This happens when more than two people communicate together. For example, a group of students working together on a school project. Fourth, public communication. This involves one person speaking to a large group of people. For example, the school principal giving a speech during the morning assembly. These four types help us communicate effectively in both school and work environments. Question 3. Imagine you have to give a short speech in your class. What key things should you focus on to master your verbal communication and deliver the speech effectively? Answer. To deliver an effective speech, I would first think before speaking. I would organize my thoughts and note down the important points so that my ideas are clear. Next, I would focus on being clear and concise. I would use simple words, speak loudly enough, maintain a moderate speed, and avoid repeating the same points. Finally, I would work on my confidence and body language. I would maintain eye contact with the audience, stand straight, and have a friendly and attentive manner. By focusing on these points, I can deliver my speech confidently and effectively. Question 4. Explain the importance of nonverbal communication in our daily interactions. Describe any three types of nonverbal cues and how they can be used effectively. Answer. Nonverbal communication is very important because it often communicates more than words. It helps us understand the feelings and reactions of others and makes our communication more effective and professional. First, eye contact. Maintaining eye contact shows that we are attentive and interested. It should be natural, with short breaks, so that it does not make the other person uncomfortable. Second, gestures. Using appropriate hand movements helps in explaining ideas clearly. Open hand gestures show honesty, while nodding shows agreement. Pointing fingers at people should be avoided. Third, posture. Standing or sitting straight shows confidence and professionalism. Good posture makes a positive impression during communication. Thus, using nonverbal cues effectively improves the quality of our daily communication. Question 5. You are a team leader. A new member of your team has been making mistakes because they are not following instructions correctly. How would you provide constructive feedback to improve their performance without discouraging them? Answer. To give constructive feedback, I would be polite, specific, and supportive. First, I would appreciate their effort by saying that I value their hard work. This helps the person feel respected and motivated. Next, I would calmly explain the problem in a clear and positive way. I would point out what went wrong and suggest going through the instructions together so that everything becomes clear. Finally, I would offer my support and encourage them to ask questions whenever needed. I would assure them that I am there to help them improve. In this way, the feedback becomes helpful and encouraging, not critical or discouraging. Question 6. What are the 7 CAs of effective communication? Choose any 4 and explain why they are essential for clear and professional communication. Answer. The 7 CAs of effective communication are clear, concise, concrete, correct, coherent, complete, and courteous. First, clear. Being clear about the purpose of the message helps avoid confusion and ensures the receiver understands the message easily. Second, concise. Using simple words and keeping the message short and to the point saves time and helps the listener or reader stay focused. Third, complete. Providing all necessary information helps the receiver take the right action and avoids repeated questions or delays. Fourth, courteous. Being polite, respectful, and friendly creates a positive impression and builds good relationships, making communication more effective. Thus, following the 7 CAs helps make communication clear, professional, and meaningful. Question 7. Describe 4 major barriers to effective communication. Provide a real-life example for each barrier. Answer. There are 4 major barriers to effective communication. First, physical barriers. These are environmental factors that disturb communication. For example, loud noise from a construction site can make it difficult to hear someone properly during a phone call. Second, linguistic barriers. These occur when people do not share a common language. For example, a tourist who speaks only Spanish may find it difficult to ask for directions from a local person who speaks only Hindi. Third, interpersonal barriers. These are personal or emotional issues that stop people from communicating freely. For example, a student may feel scared of the teacher and hesitate to ask questions in the classroom. Fourth, cultural barriers. These happen due to differences in cultural beliefs and practices. For example, a hand gesture that is polite in one culture may be considered rude in another. Thus, identifying and overcoming these barriers helps improve effective communication. Question 8. A foreign tourist, who does not speak English well, enters your store. How would you overcome communication barriers to help them effectively? Mention at least 4 strategies. Answer. To help the foreign tourist, I would first use simple language and speak slowly and clearly, avoiding slang or difficult words. Second, I would use visual support, such as pointing to items, showing labels, or using simple gestures to explain things. Third, I would remain patient and respectful, understanding that language differences can be challenging. Finally, if available, I would use a translator app on my phone to help communicate clearly and avoid misunderstandings. By using these strategies, I can overcome communication barriers and assist the tourist effectively. Question 9. Rewrite the following paragraph with correct capitalization and punctuation. Explain the rules you applied. Manuel walked on stage and the song started immediately. Glassy-eyed from the shock, he moved his lips. He couldn't see his parents, but he could see his brother Mario. Answer. Corrected paragraph. Manuel walked on stage and the song started immediately. Glassy-eyed from the shock, he moved his lips. He couldn't see his parents, but he could see his brother, Mario. Rules applied. First, capitalization was corrected. The names Manuel and Mario are proper nouns, so they begin with capital letters. Also, the first word of every sentence starts with a capital letter. Second, punctuation was added to improve clarity. Full stops were used to separate complete sentences. Commas were used to separate phrases and before the word but to join to related clauses. By applying these rules, the paragraph becomes clear, correct, and easy to read. Question 10. Identify the noun, pronoun, verb, adjective, and adverb in the sentence. Wow! The naughty boy quickly ran away. Explain the function of each identified part of speech. Answer. First, the noun. The noun is boy. It is a naming word that refers to a person. Second, the pronoun. There is no pronoun used in this sentence. Third, the verb. The word is ran. It is an action word that tells us what the boy did. Fourth, the adjective. The adjective is naughty. It describes the noun boy and tells us more about him. Fifth, the adverb. The adverb is quickly. It modifies the verb ran by telling us how the action was performed. Additionally, the word wow is an interjection used to express surprise, and the is an article used before the noun. Thus, each part of speech plays an important role in making the sentence meaningful and clear. Question 11. Explain the difference between active and passive voice with clear examples. When is it more appropriate to use the passive voice? Answer. In the active voice, the subject of the sentence performs the action. For example, Ali changed the flat tire. Here, Ali is the subject and he is doing the action. In the passive voice, the subject receives the action. For example, the flat tire was changed by Ali. Here, the flat tire is the subject and the action is done to it. The passive voice is more appropriate when the action or the receiver of the action is more important than the doer, or when the person doing the action is unknown or not important. Thus, both active and passive voices are used depending on what we want to emphasize in the sentence. Question 12. What are the four main types of sentences based on their purpose? Write one original sentence for each type related to the theme of saving the environment. Answer. The four main types of sentences based on their purpose are: first, declarative sentence. A declarative sentence gives information or states a fact. For example, we must plant more trees to combat climate change. Second, interrogative sentence. An interrogative sentence asks a question. For example, what can we do to reduce plastic waste in our school? Third, imperative sentence. An imperative sentence gives an order or makes a request. For example, please switch off the lights when you leave the room. Fourth, exclamatory sentence. An exclamatory sentence expresses strong feelings or emotions. For example, what a beautiful planet we have to protect. Thus, each type of sentence serves a different purpose and helps us communicate effectively. Question 13. What constitutes a good paragraph? Write a short paragraph on the topic, the importance of communication skills for a student. Answer. A good paragraph is a group of sentences that are all connected to one main idea. The sentences should be arranged logically so that the paragraph flows smoothly and is easy to understand. Paragraph. Communication skills are very important for a student's success in school and in life. They help students express their ideas clearly to teachers and classmates and understand lessons better. Good writing skills are useful for exams and assignments, while strong speaking skills help in presentations and group discussions. Listening carefully and giving constructive feedback also helps students build good relationships. Therefore, effective communication skills improve academic performance and prepare students for future professional life. Question 14. Differentiate between a direct object and an indirect object. Identify the verb, direct object, and indirect object in the following sentences. A. The parents sent him a postcard. B. He bought his daughter a computer. Answer. A direct object is the noun or pronoun that directly receives the action of the verb. It answers the question, what? An indirect object is the person or thing to whom or for whom the action is done. It answers the question, to whom or for whom. Now, let us identify the parts in each sentence. Sentence A. The parents sent him a postcard. The word is sent. The direct object is a postcard because it answers the question, what did they send? The indirect object is him because it answers the question, to whom did they send it? Sentence B. He bought his daughter a computer. The word is bought. The direct object is a computer because it answers the question, what did he buy? The indirect object is his daughter because it answers the question, for whom did he buy it? Thus, identifying direct and indirect objects helps us understand how the action of a verb is received in a sentence. Question 15. Imagine you are a sales executive at a toy store. A customer asks you about toys for their 5-year-old child. Write a short script of your conversation, demonstrating effective verbal communication skills. Answer. Sales executive. Good morning. Welcome to our store. How can I help you today? Customer. Hi, I'm looking for a fun and educational toy for my 5-year-old son. Sales executive. That's a great age for learning through play. We have a wide range of building blocks, puzzles, and science kits. Does he have any favorite characters or interests, like cars or animals? Customer. He loves dinosaurs. Sales executive. Perfect. I recommend this Dino Dig excavation kit. It is safe, helps develop fine motor skills, and is very popular with children of his age. Would you like me to show you how it works? This conversation shows polite greeting, clear questions, active listening, and a helpful recommendation, which are key elements of effective verbal communication. Thank you so much for watching this lesson. A downloadable PDF version of these notes is available in the description box below. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us create more educational content and keeps you updated with upcoming videos. See you in the next session.